But for men who are just learning about all these different types of yoga and the different approaches to it, what would be a common misconception that would keep them on the outside looking in, or something that they perhaps have a wrong interpretation of?
I think the three big misconceptions. Number one is that it's not a good enough workout. And that kind of goes back to looking at your workout effectiveness, being engaged on how much do I sweat and is this building muscles or not? Because if your goal is to build muscle, then you should be doing the things that help complement building muscle, which include increasing flexibility, which include helping with recovery, which include improving functional range of motion. So these are all things that are going to help you in your overall fitness goals, whatever they are. The second big misconception is that doing yoga is a religious thing. I mean, there are plenty of yoga classes that do incorporate some practices that are derived from Hinduism, that are derived from Buddhism. I don't want to have to be responsible for defending all of yoga, so I'll just say for mindful yoga, we don't use any of those. We're just taking isometric exercises and working on breath awareness and body awareness and proper technique at the same time. And then the third thing I'd say is that you have to be flexible, or you have to have a certain level of mobility to be able to do it. And I think that is true, honestly, for a lot of yoga. I think the idea that, I talk with a lot of yoga instructors, they're like, you don't have to be flexible to do yoga. And the first thing they do in a yoga class is, all right, everybody reach down and touch your toes. I'm like, well, that's not going to work for a lot of guys, and you've got guys who are in good shape, who are in their 20s, who can't touch their toes. So I can understand why there's a lot of apprehension about having to have a certain level of flexibility in order to do yoga. But we could also flip that the other way and say, well, if you're just starting strength training, you don't have to load up 2 plates on each side for squats or bench press. You're not going to jump straight to 225. You're not going to start doing reps of 10 pull-ups, right? You have to start. And in some cases, flexibility is just one aspect of a physical fitness aspect of a yoga practice. It's not the only thing. Like, the object isn't just to get more and more flexible. For me, what I try to focus on is, does my body feel good? Am I able to do the things that I enjoy doing without pain? Do I have apprehension getting down into a squat position or reaching my arms overhead, or do I avoid certain movements? So the idea that you have to be flexible is incorrect. You do need to have the right instruction that reaches you at your fitness level, and you have to learn there are some modifications. You use yoga blocks that lift the ground up, or you bend your knees to make sure that you're not straining your back to reach the ground. So it does require proper instruction, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't avoid it altogether.
Yeah. I found, for me, flexibility, luckily I've always been able to touch my toes, and I consider myself pretty flexible, which has helped with my agility. Like, I see, like, the more flexible you are, the more agile you tend to be. But for me, it's really helped with balance. And that's where I've seen a lot of body awareness for me, was like certain movements have increased my balance, because I'm more focused on where my body is, where the weight is distributed. That's given me more just awareness of body itself. And speaking of that transition, I'm curious, as you mentioned, being the athlete, starting yoga, you noticed your breath awareness has increased, your body awareness has increased. What did you notice the difference in your actual performance and your play? So for anyone who's listening, who's on the competitive side, perhaps they're still a collegiate athlete, and perhaps they're listening, they're a high rocks athlete like myself, or they're just looking for what the performance outcomes would be. What was Dean like as the athlete before yoga, and how'd you perform afterwards?
Yeah, I noticed that I was a lot more in control of my body. Like, I felt more in control, but stronger at the same time. I think for a while, I thought that yoga would replace weightlifting. It doesn't. After like a year and a half of not weightlifting, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, okay, still need to lift weights if I want to have muscle. But it really helped with that body awareness. I just noticed that I was more in control of my body. I felt kind of lighter again, but stronger at the same time, more fluid. I think fluidity of motion was the biggest thing. When you work on your flexibility and realize that you can turn your body more, and that you can just extend more and like get into positions more easily, it's hard to describe unless you actually experience it. But that was a big change as well. And then the breathing thing, I just noticed that I had much more endurance because I was breathing better subconsciously. I didn't even think about it. It just happens because when you do yoga and you have good instruction, you're focused on your breathing. And so that improved breathing ability carries over into all of your other workouts too. We haven't even touched on this yet, but there is something to be said about the mindfulness that comes from working on your breathing. And that's the really cool thing, is that you don't even have to be thinking about improving your mindfulness for it to happen. It just happens as a result of focusing on your breath and focusing on your body. And that carries over into all aspects of your life.
I was going to transition into, pulling in the listener who is not an athlete. Perhaps they go to the gym, they work out, maybe they're a runner, they stay active for longevity or just to fight the sedentary lifestyle. I would ask is, how would this help the business owner or someone in leadership or just in their daily life? How limited mobility might be deterring that, or how increased flexibility in yoga could echo into other areas of life and provide some growth, some relief?
So we can go back to the posture thing and just sitting at a desk. So when you have better posture, it actually influences your mood. It influences your hormone levels. I mean, when you have better posture, it shows to other people. You appear more confident. You feel more confident yourself. But posture's one thing, and all the things that come from good posture. Just, again, better mood, better awareness, the way that people view you. When you have bad posture, people look at you and think, oh, this guy's not confident. But when you have better posture, people are like, oh, I'm going to listen to this guy. He looks like he has good posture. So those are all things that happen at a subconscious level. In terms of flexibility and mobility, if you sit at a desk at all, or if you have a sedentary job, most people have pain. The antidote to pain, the first level of defense of that is movement. It's doing mobility work. It's just moving the body. And so a lot of the movements that we do are focused on the anti-chair positions. There are things that we don't do while we're sitting. It's things like getting the hips open. It's things like doing twist, doing back bends. And I'm not talking about like crazy back bends that you would see in a gymnast doing. I'm just talking about standing up and leaning back slightly and holding it for a while. These are things that you look at from the outside and you're like, oh, that doesn't look that hard. And then you do it and you're like, oh, wow, this is really uncomfortable. My body must really need this, or I'm weak in these positions. So, and I think the mindfulness, I want to touch on the awareness aspect, because this is the Modern Man podcast. Everyone listening to this is interested in improving themselves somehow. And without self-awareness, that does not happen. And I don't know if it was because I was in yoga world, or if it's because just who I am at a deeper agnostic level. Improving my self-awareness has allowed me to improve in so many ways that I would never have been able to. It allows me to have a level of self-reflection that people don't have. It also allows me to be much more mindful about what I am doing with my time. So I talk to people who are like, oh yeah, I just got home and I spent 2 hours, or I spent 4 hours on TikTok. I'm like, how did you do that? If I was scrolling on something for 10 minutes, I would have like alarm bells going off in my head, like, get off, like, what are you, stop scrolling. So I just have a much higher level of self-awareness that allows me to make improvements, to question things, to self-reflect, that I don't think I would have if I hadn't done as much yoga as I have.
If this hit home for you, don't stop here. I've got more content built specifically for men who are serious about leveling up their time, their mindset, and their money. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next, and watch one of these videos right now. The work doesn't stop when the video ends. Let's keep moving.